Hey everybody, it's Kirby Bridges here for Genie Magazine, and today I have a special guest. Her name is Jeannette Ceja, and she is a travel reporter. So if you have seen people on Instagram, on Twitter, and all over social media making careers out of traveling the globe, this is where it starts. And we're going to talk about today how she's made a career of it and how you can make a career out of your adventures around the world. So Jeannette, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here with you guys.
So Jeannette is Skyping in from Los Angeles, where she is based out of Beverly Hills. Jeannette, can you tell everybody a little bit about what it is that you do?
Yes, absolutely. I'd be honored. So my background is in journalism, and I knew at 12 years old when I went on a trip to Europe with my family for the first time that I wanted to be a travel journalist. And I didn't know at the time, but I got a notebook and I started writing everything down and taking pictures with my disposable camera. I thought it was so cool. And
that's the cutest thing ever, by the way.
And I still have that travel journal, by the way. I have to find it, but I still have it. But yeah, that's where it all started about 18 years ago for me. And, my career path has driven me to where I am today. I did dabble into news a little bit, and sports and entertainment, but my heart always was led back to travel. And if I wasn't doing a job or profession where I was in travel or traveling, I quit it. And I quit every job I've ever had to travel. I'm not the conventional 2 weeks a year kind of person. So every time I would hear that, I would say, okay, this is not going to work for me. So in my heart, I knew that I needed to be either freelance or independent contractor to have the flexibility and the freedom to travel.
I totally relate to what you're saying right now. When you get to a corporate kind of job and you hear that you have 2 weeks or less a year for holiday, not even to be able to travel, that's just kind of enough to see your family.
Exactly.
It makes me die a little inside just to know that, just to feel that restricted. So you got started when you were 12 years old with this passion. Where have you traveled to?
Okay, so since I was 6, I would always go to Mexico City to visit my grandparents, or visit my dad's his parents. So basically, I would go to Mexico in my childhood, but it wasn't until I was 12 that my mom decided to take me, my grandma, my brother, my sister, and my niece on a 2-week vacation in Europe. And at the time, she came into my room. I'll never forget. I was playing with toys or something, and she said, "Okay, kids, pack up. We're leaving to Europe for 2 weeks." And I was so naive and so oblivious, and I was like, "I don't want to go. I want to be here with my friends. I want to play." Like, I didn't want to go. And literally, she told me, well, if you don't pack your things, I'll pack your things, and you'll just deal with it. And so, long story short, I went.
Wow, deal with your trip to Europe, Jeannette.
I sound a brat, but I didn't understand how big this world was. I was so oblivious and naive at that time. So yeah, it just turned into this amazing trip. We got to London, and I was like, oh my gosh, do people know how amazing this world is? Do people know about London? It was just mind blowing. And then we did about 8 countries in 2 weeks. So we did England, we did Paris, we did Italy, we did Germany, we did Belgium, we did Austria, we did, so many countries. And every time I was like, oh my God, do people know how big this world is?
That's it just sounds like a completely mind-blowing experience for a 12-year-old, let alone anybody, because just going around the world and exploring new cultures has this tendency of just blowing your mind every time, and being able to see and experience the way that other people live in this world is something that is so phenomenal. So how did you transition then? You said that you hate the idea of only getting 2 weeks off a year. How did you transition from that journalism background into doing what you do now?
Sure. And like I said, I ended up moving to Nashville for 12 years. It's super random, but my parents, still live there, and I ended up going to high school and college out there. And I'm a California girl at heart. So I was born in Orange County, California. I'm a beach bum, so I was, as soon as I graduated college, I was like, I'm moving back to California. And that's exactly what I did. I actually got a job offer for a news station as a news reporter in Fargo, North Dakota. Yeah, but
that's not very California to go to Fargo, North Dakota.
And I had to make a decision. I had to decide, okay, if I go this route, this will take my career in a news direction, or if I follow my passion and go where I want to live and, where more in travel or entertainment opportunities are. So I literally packed my things, drove from Nashville with my dad 3 days to California. I only had one room. I had a roommate that I hadn't even met. I had no jobs lined up. I had nothing, but I turned down that job and I decided to come to California and be where I thought another opportunity would be. And, like I said, I had nothing lined up, but I'm kind of that person where if an opportunity doesn't present itself, you go and either make an opportunity or find an opportunity. So I went there and I started working small production jobs where they either paid nothing or they paid you in food and credit. And I had to say, you know what, you have to, like they say, pay your dues.
Yep.
So I started working these production jobs, and it was on the downtime at this production for a film, independent film, that I met this girl. And, I love to talk. I'm a social butterfly, as you know, and anyone can tell, like I'm very passionate about people and talking. So I started talking to everyone on the crew, and she just happened to work at Fox Sports, and she was just happened to be there on her day off and helping her friend. One thing led to another, gave her my resume. A month later, had a job interview. And, I watched soccer my whole life growing up with my dad and my brother. So I knew soccer, but ask me any other sport and I had no idea. But the job was for soccer.
Oh, great.
So
that's perfect.
it was for the soccer channel. So they quizzed me and interviewed me, and I passed with flying colors, thank goodness. And I got that job. So I was there for about 3 years. And while I was there, I also went to UCLA for the professional producing program, which was about 3 months. And I'm always interested on the creative side for producing, because my ultimate goal was always to host and or produce a travel show. And I've watched, Anthony Bourdain and Samantha Brown and Rick Steves my whole life, 10, 15 years, and they were my big inspirations. And I've always aspired, because they inspired me to travel, and they educate you about cultures and people and food, and they have their own personalities. And so that has been always my ultimate goal.
Wow. So we've talked before about how you are absolutely the queen of the one-way ticket.
Yeah. True.
And, you just mentioned something about going off on a whim and deciding that you're not going to get the job in Fargo, North Dakota, because it's not following your passion, and you drove out to California with your dad with no real hard plans underway, but you just did it. And I actually I was at a Lean In meeting last night, actually. And I heard this amazing comparison. And it reminds me completely of you, that if you, there are two sides of a pool. And if you're holding on to the guardrail at any time, you're never going to get to the other side. It's not until you fully release and let go, and you let go of the fear and you jump right in, that you have any chance of making it to the other side. And I feel like that's what you do, because what you just told me was that everything sort of found its way of working out. So What do you have to say about that as the queen of the one-way ticket?
This is true. And I'm actually going to New York next week, and I have a one-way ticket as well.
There you go.
How I roll, because, there's pros and cons to it, but absolutely. And I feel like I've taken that approach to life in every way. After Fox Sports, I was very grateful. I love the people I work with. I love sports, but in my heart, it's always been passion, passion for travel. So this is a true story. This was, 2010. I was working there 2.5 years, and I worked Wednesday through Sundays, and I worked production on soccer games. And I remember it was a Saturday morning, and I woke up from a dream. I had to be there at 4:30 a.m. I woke up from a dream, and I was walking the cobble steps of Rome. Okay. And I woke up from my dream, and I was like, oh no, like I want to go. It's a dream that feels so real. You try to go back to sleep, and you try to, and I tried to go back to sleep, and I couldn't. And so I said, okay, that's weird. So then I went to work, and on the assignment board are the games that we had to cover. And it was Lazio versus Roma. So it was Rome's official team. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Okay. So, but me and a producer had to work that game. And I'll never forget it's about 4 a.m, and I'm a morning person, and I love the mornings, but not everybody is. So I was like wide awake and amped. And I told the producer, I was like, I want to be there, not here. And he was like, that's cute. Like, talk to me in 5-10 hours, like so early. And that same day, it was about 9 a.m. My boss gave me a beach volleyball tape to edit. And I said, okay. He said, make it smooth, take out 20-30 minutes. And I said, okay. So I had to watch the whole thing. And at the end of it, it had video shots of Rome. And it said, see you in Rome, May 2011. So this is October 2010. And I literally turned, I was like, is someone playing a joke? Like, what is going on?
It's a sign.
It was a sign. It's a sign. So that was the third thing of Rome that day. And then I went to the coffee room, and I started making coffee, and there was a TV at the corner of the room, and it had the little National Geographic logo, but I couldn't hear it. So I went and I turned up the volume, and it said it was talking about Rome. Okay. So I was like, all right, I'm going to Rome, because that always had been a dream of mine. And I even wrote it in my travel journal when I was 12. I said, I want to come back here. I want to live here. I was talking about Rome. So that night, I started looking at plane tickets to Rome, jobs in Rome, everything about Rome. I started calculating my exit plan.
Love it.
to a new journey. And in March of the following year, I did about 6 months or so. I sold my car. I quit my job. I didn't tell anyone until about 2 or 3 weeks before, because I didn't want anyone to try to convince me otherwise.
I love that.
And probably a couple days before my one-way ticket there, I had a really, really bad toothache. Okay. I had so many little obstacles coming in my way, but I was so determined, and I had to go to the dentist. And I went to the dentist, and the dentist said that they had to take out that tooth immediately. And I was like, I'm moving to a different country in 3 days. And they said, take it out here or take it out there. We recommend you do it as soon as. They literally 3 days later extracted a molar, put stitches in my gums. And I went to Italy, and I was like, with stitches in my mouth, I was like, I don't care. I was so determined.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It goes to show you, you start off from working those not so glamorous production jobs, and you go and you go get a molar taken out of your face. But it goes to show you that when you pay your dues and you put in the hard work and you don't let anything stop you, you can accomplish what you set out for. That's amazing, Jeannette. What are some of your favorite one-way ticket places you've ever been to?
Oh, okay. Well, definitely Italy, Rome. That was one of my favorites. Australia. I got a job offer in Australia a couple years ago, and I got a one-way ticket there. I try to do it in Fiji, but they're very not for that. They want a return ticket because I guess they assume that people would just want to go to Fiji and like just live there. I mean, I don't see why.
I don't understand it, but
I
can let them think that.
But yeah, no, I'm doing New York one way next week. I can't think. I've done so many one ways, and I was in Italy with moi last year, in Lake Como.
Yep.
And I actually didn't have a ticket back to the States.
Yep. YOLO Como.
YOLO Como, which you guys is just, you only live once, and Lake Como with the beautiful Kirby was the time of our life, and we definitely are planning to go back.
Well, I have to say, as somebody who has traveled with you, I mean, when we were in Lake Como last year, it was spectacular, and I was able to learn so many just little travel tips from you. What would you, and it's something that I thought was so nice to travel with you.
Thank you.
Well, and part of that is just because you have a confidence about you when you're traveling and when you're moving, whether you're just moving through the city and you're going into a train station or getting a taxi, whatever it is, you're able to do so really in a relaxed and confident way. And I would recommend that to people, that even if you don't feel so confident, just to have that, fake it till you make it when you're in another country.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kirby. That means so much, because I don't notice that. And, it's nice when people point that out, because I'm just so used to traveling, and I'm also used to traveling alone. I've traveled so much by myself, and it's almost second nature. Like it doesn't scare me. It doesn't worry me. I can go anywhere, even if I don't know anybody in the country. When I moved to Italy, I didn't know one person. I went to Brazil by myself for 10 days. And I never felt scared. I never felt in danger. I never felt worried. On the contrary, I met the nicest people. I made so many friends that I'm still talking to this day. I left my cell phone charging in a taxi in Rio de Janeiro on my second day. And, I was talking to him in Spanish. He was talking to me in Portuguese, and, really friendly. And we had such a great conversation that when he dropped me off, I was like, okay, bye. And I walked to where I was going to buy a ticket to go see the Christ Redeemer, and got in a line that was 3 hours that day because it was during the World Cup. And, I'll talk to the people. Like, to me, that's fun. So I was talking to the people, and I realized about 20 minutes later, I was looking for my phone to see what time it was. I left my cell phone charging in the taxi in Rio on my second day by myself. I didn't bring a laptop. I didn't bring a camera. I literally had no other way to communicate with anyone.
Oh my God.
And my mom, even though I'm like 27 at the time, she said, message me every night. I don't care how old you are. I want to make sure you're okay. I thought, oh my gosh, if she doesn't hear from me, she's going to literally
think I'm dead.
Freak out, think I'm dead, and look at the news every day. So, but here's a true story. I was still in line trying to figure out what I was going to do. And while I was waiting in line, probably about 10 minutes later, I see the taxi guy walking holding my phone with the charger hanging, looking everywhere he dropped me off. So he literally came back, dropped me off myself. I could not believe that. Like, who does that?
That is so nice. In any city, by the way, not just like this huge, sprawling, kind of intimidating metropolis. That's amazing. But how do you, and after having traveled with you, I know that you have all of these you've collected experiences like this all over the world. And I feel like you very much, these things gravitate to you, where you meet good people and you're open to these new spontaneous experiences. But to a lot of people, I mean, most people, and a lot of women, it's really scary and intimidating to travel by yourself. So what kind of tips can you offer for that? And why is it important?
Sure. And I recommend this to every lady out there, definitely to take a trip by yourself at least once, before you get married, settled, have kids. I feel like it's just something you should always do for yourself. It doesn't have to be a big international trip. It could be a trip, to Hawaii, or a trip to, Yosemite. I mean, it could be anywhere. It could be local. But I think what a lot of people, and I've broken these fears, it's just the fear of the unknown. It's a fear of not knowing the people, not knowing the culture. And I completely understand that. But there's danger everywhere. I mean, there's danger in LA where I live, and there's places where I wouldn't go, necessarily. And it's just about being savvy, and being a savvy traveler is, doing your researching, the location where you're going to stay, the restaurants, what you want to see. You can even go on their websites, the tourism bureaus, and see the statistics and more information. You can, I think the first step is doing a lot of research. And the second thing is just having that confidence, like you were saying. It's just fake it till you make it. I never say I'm alone. I say I'm visiting my cousin, I'm visiting my brother, I usually always say a male, or I'm visiting, whoever, my uncle who just moved here. And because sometimes as a woman, sometimes you get hit on, when you're traveling, or sometimes, or people will just randomly ask you, are you here alone?
And other cultures are they can be so much more forward too when they hit on you.
Totally. Like one time in an Italian airport, I literally had just gotten all my things. I see the door to Italy, and I'm just about to leave baggage claim when a security officer stopped me. It was like, basta. And he was very serious. And I was like, oh, he's like, passport documents. I was like, oh, here you go, sir. He's like, how long are you here for? And I answered all these questions. And I was like, I'm here, for a couple months. I'm here to work and all these things. And he said, oh, okay, great. He's like, are you here alone? He's like, are you single? Then I was like, I totally felt it.
Welcome to Italy.
And I was like, oh my gosh, and I was like, no, I'm here, visiting, my guy friend or something. And so then he backed off. But it's just about that, being savvy. Never say you're alone ever. You're traveling alone. You're either visiting someone's joining you, or something, or,
Yeah. So when Jeanette and I were in Italy this past summer, I had come straight from spending a few days by myself, my first solo travel trip in Iceland. And I had this feeling of, it's something I've never experienced before. I've done so much traveling myself, nowhere near as much as Jeanette, but you can't replace it. Just having this total feeling of independence, being on an island in the middle of nowhere where I know no one and you can't communicate with anyone back home, but then feeling alone and feeling it's kind of empowering to.
Absolutely.
I had this moment where I was like walking around the street thinking, okay, what do I want to eat? And it dawned on me in a really big way that I don't have to listen to anybody else. I can do exactly what I want. And how awesome is that? And why am I not living the rest of my life like with this same attitude?
Isn't it? It's so
amazing.
Great.
Yeah.
It's so great because you wake up when you want, you go to bed when you want, you do what you want, you eat when you want.
Yeah.
It's definitely a great experience. And I feel like, I did an internship in Chicago in college.
You have done so much. I love it.
Yeah, I did an internship with Fox for Chicago News. And I remember I lived alone and I would go to my internship and I spent a lot of time alone and I wasn't really used to it and I wasn't comfortable at that time. I was still in college, but that was the catalyst for me starting to travel alone. And if you can enjoy your own company, then, you know, everyone else will. But it's also like self-empowering and also goes to self-love even, because, you know, some people don't even want to have dinner by themselves. Some people don't want to take themselves out to a movie, even in the city they live, because maybe they're afraid they'll look, you know, I don't know, the way they'll look or they don't feel. But I'm so comfortable like having dinner by myself, or you know, going to see a site by myself. And it's so empowering, like you said, and it's so free and liberating. And that's why I think everyone should try solo travel at least once. It's such a great, and you don't come back the same person, right? You're like, wow, I could do it. Like, I really can do it. It's great.
It's amazing. Well, you've done all this traveling, and it is so empowering to travel by yourself and have the confidence and in just knowing and loving yourself enough to know that you can handle any situation. And you personally have had this major shift in your life over the past year. And it's, as your friend, it's been really like, it's sitting on the sidelines now that we live in different states. It's been completely inspiring to watch your journey as you rise. And can you just talk about like what has changed in you, Jeannette? Because I have to say, as your friend, like when the last time I saw you, I kept telling you, like, there's something about you and you're just glowing and you're resonating with light and energy and happiness. Like, something has changed. What is it?
Thank you, Kirby. That means so much. Like, seriously. Honestly, last year I left a job that was great, but it wasn't still like, I wasn't able to pursue, you know, my travel full time. And I said, you know, it was really like an inner thing. I said, you know what? I gotta go. Like, you gotta go big or go home. Like, it like the 33 rule doesn't work, where you put 33% of your energy here, 33% of your energy here, 33% of your energy here. At the end of the day, you're not really giving it your all to one thing. And so I was really spread out. I was doing this job. I was doing lots of other jobs. I was still doing more entertainment. I wasn't 100% focused on travel.
Well, and what was the thing that we tend to make shifts in our lives when we have our biggest pain points? So what was the thing that really broke the straw for you that made you want to bound into this new life?
It was just getting over fear of success, getting over fear. And honestly, the journey all began within. I was like, okay, what is my dream goal? This is my dream. Why haven't I achieved it? Oh, because I had fear of this, fear of that. And so really what I started to do is I started not going out on the weekends. Like, I started not, you know, going, drinking, like doing all those things that people my age maybe will do for fun. Instead of distracting myself in those ways, I started Friday nights reading, going to the bookstore, reading books on, you know, travel, reading books on inspirational people that inspired me. On Saturdays, I started going to seminars, workshops. I started studying the people who are doing what I want to do, like Anthony Bourdain, like Samantha Brown, like all these greats, Rick Steves, and I just said, what did they do, and how can I get to where they are from where I am? And I felt like the biggest commodity is time. So what I started to do is focus my energy on studying the best, on becoming the best, and becoming the best is by like using my skills. I signed up for public speaking classes with Toastmasters. I did hosting classes, you know, with the beautiful Kirby.
That's how we met.
That's how we met. Did TV hosting classes. So I've been taking classes to become the best version of myself. And last year it was go big or go home, and it was all about that. So that's what I started doing. I started studying, taking classes, working on myself, you know, working from the inner out. I also, you know, this may sound cheesy, but started to do affirmations, which I never really did before. But I started studying like Tony Robbins, Oprah, Bob Proctor, all these people that are successful, and be like, what they have done, it's all mindset, you know, success is a mindset. And what separates one person from another, is their determination and the belief that they can do it. Anything that I've ever accomplished, if I ever told someone, I've heard a lot of no's, or, oh, you can't, or, oh, it's too expensive, too far, too dangerous. I literally asked about 40 people if they wanted to come to me with Brazil. And, everyone turned it down for various reasons. And when I said, okay, that's fine, I'm going to go alone, people were like, oh, it's too dangerous. You can't. I said, I'm sorry, I'm going to live my life. I'm going to go for it. And I did. And
no apologies.
No apologies. And it was far exceeded any expectations. And, even to where I'm living now here in Beverly Hills, when I said, I want to live in Beverly Hills, people would tell me, you can't afford it. You can't, it's this and that. And I kept telling people, I was like, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. And I applied, and 2 days later I got approved, and I'm here. So it's all about the mindset, and I've really been working, and I think the reason why opportunities are opening up like they are never before, now people are reaching out to me from all over the world, and it's such an honor because they see the passion for it is me. It's a deep-rooted passion. It's not a recreational hobby. I'm not a blogger. I don't have blogs. It's something that has always been in me for 18 years now. And until I finally pursued that full time, it's when people and companies and places are starting to recognize that. But it's because I'm doing what I love, and I'm so passionate about it. And money comes and goes, but I feel like money always follows where passion goes, when people are really passionate about it. But for me, it's never been about the money. It's never been about fame or money. It's been about inspiring people to travel. It's been about educating people about different cultures, and also breaking stereotypes, because a lot of people don't travel to certain countries based on a stereotype. Even when I went to, I go to Mexico many times a year, the first thing I hear is it dangerous? Is it dangerous? Is it dangerous? And of course, but everywhere is dangerous. I mean, turn on Los Angeles news and you'll hear about, something horrific like a stabbing or murder. But that doesn't stop us from going outside of our homes every day. So it shouldn't stop us from going outside of the country and experiencing so many rich, beautiful cultures. And they promise that anytime anyone goes outside of their comfort zone, which is actually an adrenaline rush for me, but anytime someone goes outside of their comfort zone, you grow, you learn. Yes, it's going to a place like when I went to, Brazil or Fiji or anywhere where you don't speak the language. Yes, it's uncomfortable because you don't know and or their customs are different or anything, but you grow and you learn and you come back a completely different person,
Absolutely. So you basically, what you're saying, just to recap, is that you looked your fears in the face and you took your passion from a flame into basically a bonfire. So this year has been the biggest year for you yet. What happens in the next year?
Wow. Well, really, there is no limit.
Love it.
Sky is the limit. I took flight lessons about 2 weeks ago.
Flight lessons, that's right. Oh my God, you're literally in the sky. The sky is not the limit for you.
Literally. And it's always been a dream of mine, and it's always been a bucket list. And, I found an aviation school close to me and signed up for classes. And why not? And learning to get, my pilot license. And
so you can fly yourself to all of these countries.
Exactly. It'd be like a travel reporter, like no other. I'll be the travel reporter that flies to her own destinations, right?
I love that.
Literally, my goals and my dreams are beyond anything, and I just feel like if you become the best version of yourself, that nothing can stop you. No one can stop you. I learned how to ski for the first time last week, I'm sorry. And so, yeah, it's only been a month and I've already gotten to fly and ski, and I have so many, oh my gosh, my bucket list of destinations is just through the roof. I want to go to every country. I want to experience so much beauty. My next dream destination is definitely Egypt. That's one big one. And I like I said, I want to host and produce my own travel show nationally, internationally. I want to go speak to people as a travel ambassador and inspire people all over the world to travel. I want to become inspirational and motivate women and everyone else just to get out there and travel, because I think a lot of things that hold people back is fear. When it comes down to it, it's just fear. And fear is just a false illusion. It's just whatever energy you give, you know. You can either believe or be in fear, but you can't have both.
Right. Fear, and false evidence appearing real, right?
There you go. That's what it is. It's not real. It's just a fear. It's a worry of something that could happen. But, you know, sitting in my house, you know, here, you know, I don't know, a tree can fall on me and I could die. But I mean, anything could happen.
Knock on wood.
I know, not on wood. But you continue living your life and you continue to face your fears. And that's what I do. Like, I constantly am facing my fears, and flying a plane was definitely scary because, you know, I flew for about 30 minutes by myself and I got to help take off.
Wow.
And it's insane. And, you know, this instructor is like literally putting his life in my hands, but I had faith in myself and did in me that I could do it. And I did do it. And it's when you face your fears and you overcome them, it's the most empowering feeling ever. And, you know, one of my other fears is sharks. And so, I mean, I know nobody's like, oh, a cute little shark. I mean, a lot of people are afraid of sharks, but I've had this fear of sharks since I was a little girl. And one thing that I want to do is definitely cage dive. And I want to face those sharks, those great white sharks, and head on, and just, that's probably one of my only big fears that I have, really.
Well, I know that you will face that fear. So I think that your message is incredibly inspiring, and it's going to leave a lot of viewers who are just getting to know you after this interview feeling really inspired. So what kind of tips can you give our traveling viewers who are watching right now?
Absolutely. There's no limit to how much traveling you can do. You know, I hear a lot of excuses about traveling, and I understand, you know, time, money, family obligations. But at the same time, my tip would be, it's all about allocation. You know, if you save, let's say, a week, and, you know, instead of going drinking with the girls or, you know, I don't know, something, Uber, you'd be surprised how many people wake up with Uber bills on Monday morning. Like, what, $200?
What happened?
Oh my God.
Surge pricing.
Surge pricing. If you put like a little travel fund, let's say $20 a week or $25 a week, you know, start saving and allocating your money, you know, or if you drink $5 coffees every day, like I used to, just allocate it differently, you know, and save towards travel, because travel, here's another myth. A lot of people think travel is just so expensive, so out of reach. So I've done so many trips. You know, I flew from here to Denmark, round trip on Delta for $425. I mean,
oh my God.
And, you know, now there's Airbnb, now there's overnight, now there's so many different ways you can stay, hotels, hostels. I mean, there's so many ways you can travel, and so many websites that offer, you know, like Groupon getaways. They offer, you know, all inclusive, like hotel and airfare. Like you can go to Iceland for like $600-700 with airfare and hotel and excursions. I mean,
it's true.
It's all about allocation, because I mean, you could go buy a purse for $700, or you can go to Iceland round trip with everything included. It's all about allocation.
Right.
And time, it's, you know, time is the biggest commodity. It's, you know, you can make time, you make time for what you want. You know, if you really want something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. It's just like anything else, right?
Right.
So it's just planning, allocating your money. Get on a frequent flyer, you know, plan with your favorite airline. I'm constantly looking every day. I look at airfares just for fun, even if I'm not going anywhere. And my mind is blown by the airfares that I find. Sometimes it's less expensive to fly, for instance, from here to Milan round trip than it is for me to fly to Nashville to see my parents. Like it's $400 round trip to fly to Milan, or It's sometimes cheaper to fly abroad than it is within the United States.
It is so true. Yeah.
It's just being savvy, open-minded, just, and going for it and facing your fears. Yes, I know it can be scary, but, you just got to live your life, live for the moment, and travel will change your life for the better, because it's not a tangible object that can get, like a purse, like that can get lost or stolen or damaged. Travel, it gives you experiences that nobody can take away from you. And you'll tell your children and their children and their great-grandchildren, like I'll tell my children all my travel stories and inspire them. I'm sure I'll have my baby with me, like when I have a baby, like on the plane, like with the little passport, like a baby passport.
Oh,
my baby,
little baby passport.
Little baby passport. Like I want my baby to be like worldly and know that this world is so big and beautiful, and that there's so many cultures and languages, to learn.
I love it. Well, okay, so you've given us your tips on living your best life, on being the best traveler, on letting go of your fears. I want to know if you are up to the challenge of our rapid fire questions, Jeanette.
Yes.
All right. We're going to start now. So question number 1. Okay. What is your favorite word?
Like. I say it every 2 seconds.
Oh, man. They would be hammering on that in hosting class.
In my public speaking class.
Oh, like. 2, what's your least favorite word?
Ooh, least favorite word. Ooh, gosh, that's a good one. I don't know, stupid? I don't like it.
That's a good one. All right, number 3. What turns you on?
Intelligence. I'm a sapiosexual, which is like you're very, like, intellect is very attractive to me. If you can have a good conversation that just blows my mind and makes me like think and learn about something that I didn't know, and just it's very attractive, an open mind. Oh, also sense of humor. If you can make me laugh, like, I mean, it's not hard, but if you can make me laugh, we're good. Very attractive sense of humor.
Well, I'm sure your boyfriend has both. What turns you off?
Arrogance, ignorance. Just ignorance, like ignorance of anything, just closed-mindedness. That's such a turnoff for me.
Great one. What sound do you love?
Actually, I love the sound of rain. Like right now, like the sound of raindrops.
You don't get that very often in California, so.
We don't. So I love it. I have my windows, well, not now, but I have my windows open, and I just love hearing rain.
What sound do you hate?
Hearing like my neighbors snoring, or
that is horrible.
I'm on the first floor, so like also hearing my neighbors like pitter patter, like constantly, I guess.
Mm-hmm. What is your favorite curse word? Like it. What job or profession other than what you're doing would you most like to attempt?
Ooh, that's a good question. Stand-up comedian, maybe?
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah.
What would you not want to attempt?
Anything with the ocean. I love the ocean from afar, but I have the weakest stomach and I get seasick very easily.
Really?
And if I had to have any job like on a boat or, in the water, I probably would hate it.
And yet you've been on cruises, right?
I've been on cruises,
Ooh.
I've been on yachts, I've been on every kind of boat you can think of, and I've gotten sick on every single one of them.
Oh, well, that's terrible.
Even with motion sickness pills, I still get sick. There's something about my stomach that just doesn't jive with the waves or something.
Okay, so facing your fear of sharks is an even bigger deal now that you've said that.
Yes, and hopefully I wouldn't get sick and attract more sharks. I mean, can you imagine? Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That would be my day.
Anxiety just set into the interview. Okay. All right, final question. If God exists, what would you like to hear him or her say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh, that is such a great question. you've spread love, you know, you've shown people unconditional love. Thank you. Because I feel like that's really deep down inside. I feel like that's a mission, just to show unconditional love, you know, in this world that sometimes people, places, and things make it so difficult.
Absolutely. Jeannette, thank you so much for your time and bringing us the love and the energy that you have. I think that we have a lot of lessons to learn from you, and you are incredibly inspiring. And I just want to thank you for your message and your advice. It's really going to help a lot of people. So thank you again. If you want to check out Jeannette, you can find her on social media at Jeannette Reports. We're going to link it below and make sure that it's on the video so that you can see exactly where to follow her. And I have to say that you want to follow her because she will save you money. All the time, Jeannette is posting flights for $60 to Cuba or $90 to Iceland. I mean, it's crazy. Like, she has the best advice. And it's so inspiring to see you making a career out of your passion and traveling the world. So, Jeannette, thank you.
The honor is mine. Well, it was such a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you, Kirby, and everyone else. Happy travels, and please always feel free to contact me. Like Kirby said, social media. This is my passion. So when I get asked about travel, it's like giving someone chocolate, and for me, it's like, yes.
That is so awesome. All right, thanks, Jeannette.
No problem. Bye, guys.